setter.
I see some gas on the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, truck. You're finished. Hey, first down. This is a weird kid. Worse than that side.
All right, everybody, we are back here for the After Hours JetsFest. It's Tuesday night, and that's what we do at 10:30 p.m. on every Tuesday after the Talking Jets panel here. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Everybody in good mood? Everybody in high spirits? Dano's in the house telling you to hit that there up the butt thumb. Maybe we'll call it the butt thumbs next. We got the milk thumb, and then we got the butt thumb. You go. Yeah. There you go. The old butt thumbs. What's happening, everybody? My name's GreenBean. Welcome to the After Hours Jets Fest, where we talk about lots of fun little things. We talk about the New York Jets tonight. I think we'll predominantly focus on our running back room right now as it stands. We have the great BREECE Hall and some others. We'll talk about those guys. I imagine the words Justin and Fields will come up in this show, and that'll be fun. But we're also going to allow for any subjects that slide down the pike via the chat, and that is the most important part of this show, the chat. What you guys want is what we get, right? I'm a big believer in the chat governing the show, especially a show like this when we're just hanging out late at night. It is Tuesday night, and it's 10:36, and here we are. You know what I mean? So we just kind of chill out and have some fun, talk about some things. So I'm grateful for you guys. Who else is in the house as of now? Christopher Byers coming in early. Says Jets, Jets, baby. Love GreenBean, love New York Jets content, and he's a great Jets fan. Well, thank you, Christopher. I do appreciate such comments. And as I stated, I love you guys. I love the chat. I love you guys. So as you guys know, I've been messing with different cameras and everything. I had a whole thing. So right now I'm back to using the computer camera, which I do want to get away from. I used to years ago, I had my Canon Rebel T7 and the whole setup, but I've gotten away from it for different reasons. And now I got all these other little camera options and nothing's really working. I got to figure it out. So tonight, I apologize. I'm back to what ends up on YouTube, a little grainy, a little less clear than I love it to be. You know what I mean? Let's see what we got here. We got a couple. Let me see if I got some options for you guys. Let's see. Oh, I never turned my phone back on earlier. It was dying, and I tried to charge it, and it wasn't charging. And I don't know. Why isn't my phone charging, Dano? What's going on here? So let's see what else we got. I don't have any other camera options now. All right. Forget it. Who else is here? Andrew Zonka's in the house. What's up with you, buddy? Sean Dog's in the house. Right. This is a good one, isn't it? This is where we just kind of hang out, man. We get loose. It's nice. I'm glad you like it. Curly Norman's here, hanging out. John's here as well, putting the emojis from his Stream Beaner membership. Thank you, John. It doesn't show up on my, when I click on it for the platform I'm using, it doesn't show up quite the same way. But in the chat, you guys can see it. It's nice and fun. Todd's here. Howdy to you. Howdy doody. Howdy doody. AJ, what's up with you, buddy? My buddy E-Rock Poke in the house. King Blaze, what's up, man? Good to see you. Flight Right. Love these late night hangouts. I know. It's like we just chill out. And there's a small crew in here tonight. Usually by now we're up in the 80s, 100, and we got 40 folks hanging out tonight. So we're light. Maybe it'll be quiet night, you know what I mean, where we just kind of sit around the fire, talk about days of old, the one that got away, right? The one that got away. Remember her or remember him, whatever it might be. I don't care. Mark Spaghetti, is in the house. Well, Sacchetti. Sorry, I thought that said spaghetti. But that's because of my eyes, Mark. Don't worry about it. And because we were talking about spaghetti in the Talking Jets live stream. So, it's funny with Italian food. You know what always bothered me? So I grew up in an Italian, Northeast New Jersey Italian household. That's where I grew up. We spent most Sundays at my grandma's house. My Grandma Grams, and the chief was my grandfather, and all the cousins. I had a whole bunch of cousins. Our home base was Nutley, New Jersey. So we had a large crew from the Belvilles and the Cliftons of the world, and we would all kind of get together at grandma's house on Sundays. And if the pool was open in the summer, we did that and everything. But what we always had was a very authentic Italian Sunday meal. And we would deviate from time to time. There'd be some stuff, but what really was about was the big pot of gravy, right? So there'd be, 75 meatballs, 50 sausage links, and neck bones, and, braciole and all that kind of shit, all in the gravy. Sometimes, she'd have 2 pots of gravy, and then whether it was ravioli or whatever. But so whenever, like when you go, like you see like the local firehouse, they're doing a fundraiser, right? And they do usually one of 2 things. Usually there's some others, but you always see one of 2 things. One is pancake breakfast, right? You see pancake breakfast. And that's, why they do that, because it's easy, and, pancakes easy to make. Everybody likes them. It's nice and fun. The kids come, and you can make 1 million of them, for $5. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's all about when you're doing a fundraiser. And then the other one is spaghetti dinner. And because of my upbringing, I always disliked that. I went to only one time in my entire life did I engage and go to a spaghetti dinner fundraiser. And the reason being, so I went to the one, and, obviously when you have an Italian food hub in your life, you go to a big big fundraiser spaghetti. Really what it is a big vat of what is essentially ragu level sauce, tomato sauce. It's not marinara, it's tomato sauce. If there are meatballs, they're going to be the million meatballs that you get in the frozen bag, and they taste like shit, or they're like rubber. It's like high school. Remember, like junior high or high school, they'd have a meatball parm or a meatball sub or whatever once a month or something like that. And then those meatballs, they were like green inside. You know what I mean? So that's what you get. And they do that because you can get pounds and pounds of spaghetti for cheap. So it's kind of gotten a rough deal. And I know Sacchetti, I'm sorry to connect you so intimately with spaghetti here, but it's just what it is. I apologize. I'll bring up Bearded's here too. But so spaghetti gets a bad rap and it's easy. Like what also, if you go to like a Greek restaurant, and the kids menu, you look at these kids menus or whatever it is. It could be barbecue, not barbecue so much, but you go to any of these restaurants and they have a couple items for the kids. You like to see things like chicken fingers are usually on the menu, right? Chicken fingers, fries. And then they'll usually have like a grilled cheese, but they'll have spaghetti because it's easy and kids like it. And you put the sauce, the kid's 3 years old. What does he know? And he fucking eats the spaghetti, and you can have your moussaka. You know what I mean? Or whatever you want. You can have your fish. So spaghetti gets a bad rap because it's cheap and it's easy and everybody makes it. Everybody's doing anything, they make spaghetti. But the truth is that if you pull it all back and you go to the real deal, the truth is that there's probably not a better pasta for a good Sunday gravy than spaghetti. And the reason being is because it's substantial enough to hold the sauce. Number one, the sauce has to be thick enough to adhere to the pasta. That's important. You don't want to be taking pasta and then have to like get sauce, or when you pull it out, there's no gravy or sauce on it, right? So spaghetti is substantial enough to have some of the gravy adhere to it, to stick to it. But it's thin enough and everything so that you can do the twirl. And there's nothing better to me than a twirl, a good mouthful, a good perfectly twirled mouthful of spaghetti. But if you're talking Italian food, you rarely bring out the spaghetti because it's so prevalent. It's like, no, we're going to talk about some spaghetti's bottom tier. But if done right, it's not bottom tier. It's the best. It's the best. So spaghetti. Sorry for the connection. I guarantee it's not the first time that's happened in your life. You know what I mean? Look at chaos. Look at chaos. Look what he's doing. He's over there. He's hungry. But Jeremy's been doing a great job losing the weight, right? Jeremy looks like a different person. I'm very proud of Jeremy. I lost 30, let's call it 32 pounds in the past couple of months. But Jeremy's got me beat. Jeremy lost 418 pounds, and he's only got 150 more to lose. Right, Jeremy? But this is it. This is it right here. Infrared. That's exactly what he says. Spaghetti is quick and easy meal. That's what I'm saying. So it gets a bad rap because of that. It is. You're right. You're 100% right. But it gets a bad rap because of it. Because it's the easy thing. Now, once you get past that, Jeremy, like in the restaurants in my town, I grew up in Lake Hiawatha. I was born in Orange and, right that like Orange Newark area. And then we moved to Belleville, which is like a North Newark, like right on the border there, right over the border of Belleville. We had a little apartment there. And then we went to Nutley. And then from there, I went down south to Barnegat and everything. But I really, my formative years were Lake Hiawatha, which is Parsippany, New Jersey. So, but in my area, my Italian restaurants, for some reason, there was a large contingent, like capellini pasta, which is very, very thin. It's angel hair level. I think angel hair might be one level thinner than capellini. I gotta know. Let me see. Pasta thickness chart. Let's look at the old chart. Pasta. Oh, pasta. Yeah, that's what I want. So here we go. So look at this. So Capellini D'Angelo. Let me show you guys real quick. Up. Hey, the pasta shapes and thickness. So Capellini D'Angelo. And that name was actually a dish in my favorite restaurant, Lake Hiawatha. It was called the Villa Melise. I worked there as 14-year-old washing dishes till like 1 a.m. at 14 years old. 1, 2 a.m. But then it was the Nest West and then the Side Street Pub. But they always had the Capellini D'Angelo, which is the capellini pasta, real thin, a big mound of it with a pink sauce with little chunks of prosciutto and peas and onions. And it was like the fucking best. So Capellini is the thinnest, they say. Is that what they're saying here? N1. Then spaghetti. I don't like this list. This list is weird to me. Let's find a better one. Why can't we just tell me the damn thickness, everybody's? Okay, this one looks good. This doesn't, I just want a chart. That's all I want, Jeremy. All right, so we'll just make this big. Here we go. And we'll go back to this. Here we go. So the thickest is a lasagna. And then you got the fettuccine. I don't like how this one is doing it either. These are shapes. So look, linguine, capellini, spaghetti. And then you got the fettuccine up top, right, in the twirlies. So these charts are really disappointing me, infrared. I want to tell you. So anyway, there's something about the twirl, right? The good bowl of pasta with the twirl. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a pappardelle. I love, that's bow ties, right? But I love ravioli. I love all these shits. You know what I mean? But I love a good penne. My father likes ziti. Now the old ziti with just the tubes, right? The smooth tubes. And I don't like though. I'll eat it. I love it, but don't get me wrong. But it's like I would never choose ziti over a penne because penne has the ridges, and the ziti is smooth. So if you don't have the right sauce, it just slides off, right, Jeremy? Jeremy, you know what I'm saying about the ziti? And the thing is, with ziti is every pizzeria has ziti, baked ziti, and they give you the smooth tubes, and I don't like it. Again, I like it, fair, but I don't like it when compared to something else that would grab the sauce. It's very important. See, Curly Norman's like, right, we are talking about the Jets. Curly Norman knows exactly what I'm doing here. Curly is a fucking genius, right? He knows the deal. Curly is a man amongst men. You see what I'm saying? Curly knows. All this talk of the Jets filling holes and thickness charts is getting me excited. Right. And then we can dovetail that with big fat fatties in the 6th round, baby. We know we need them. Jeremy, you want to hang out for a few minutes? Let me grab Jeremy. Hold on a second. I haven't been on a live stream with Jeremy in a long time. Oh, Jeremy, I didn't do that thing for you today. I'm sorry. I'll do it, man. I'm sorry. I fucked up. Jeremy, jump on the show. Let's talk. So we'll bring it, but let me just close this. I don't want to just, let's see. Dano says, thank God for my metabolism. I'd be 320 pounds. Right. I love it. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Let's see. Green friend NYJ. Look at GreenBean letting me know I have had nothing other than BS spaghetti, and I love it. Well, look, that's the thing too. It's like what they say, green fiend. I'm sorry, my eyes. But like they say about pizza, even when it's bad, it's good. You got to be an asshole to mess up pizza, right? You got to really, something's wrong with you. If you got the ingredients, you can overcook it a little. You can, it's hard. So if you got even like a Prego, right? Prego's thicker than ragu bothers me. I would use ragu for like my bagel pizzas as a kid. Ragu bothers me. So does Francesco Rinaldi. Are they even out there anymore? I don't even know if ragu, and I don't even know. But Prego, which is sweeter, for sure, without question, is better because it's thicker. Because at least it'll stick to some stuff. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Mark Spaghetti says very thin. Well, he's talking about a thing. Gnocchi bolognese. But yeah, so gnocchi's I love gnocchi. If I see gnocchi at a restaurant, like if I go to a restaurant, and then they have gnocchi, I get it probably 75% of the time because you don't see it everywhere. So I love it. Danger says, GreenBean, do you still do a members-only Discord? One of your members scared me away, but I could give it another go. Yeah, that's the Beanbaggers. We still meet. Right now we're meeting every week. We met the last couple Wednesdays because we're going into the draft. But as the offseason goes, we'll probably meet once a month. We spend every Wednesday to get, dude, that Discord's rocking. Those guys are on there every single day. It's a good, probably consistently, I'd say 15 to 20, but there's probably 40, about 45 that check in and whatever. But don't let anybody scare you away, Dano. You know what I mean? If somebody's got a fucking problem. Like, let's say you're in a chat, right? And you're talking New York Jets and somebody brings in politics. Somebody says something about politics and you happen to disagree. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? That's what I say. Fuck off. I don't care. What? Like, I have my opinions. If you guys want to ask me, we can talk. But, or let's say religion. They bring up religion one day. You know it's not going to last forever, right? They'll talk about it for a little bit. People go, I don't agree. And we argue for 10 minutes and then whatever, an hour even. 2 a day. It just always goes away. You just go, okay, whatever, man. What do you think about pick 7? Yeah, I love Newark and Belleville too. I mean, it's, like I've shared with you guys, the end of my time up there wasn't necessarily, I wasn't frequenting the finer restaurants. I was walking around the streets like a different version of myself, right? Like a streetwalker. But dude, I love the Portuguese section. See, my mother's father, my grandfather, who I never met, he passed away before I oh, Jeremy's here. What's up, man? Chaos.
Okay.
Look at this guy
wearing his White Castle hamburger shirt.
How big is it on you? Can you stand up? Is it?
No, well,
I'll show you something.
This was in the closet. Like I got to take this out. Like this was, you know what I mean? Like I'm going back down.
Oh, you're going into the skinny clothes.
All my fun printed shirts I'm fitting into now.
And they're not all faded because you haven't worn them in 12 years. Now look at this, Jeremy. I'm going to show you guys something. You ready? I'm going to make me bigger so you can see it real quick. Hold on. Let me do this. Oh, try to make sure Jeremy's still here, though. Wait, let me see. Hold on.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, we're little guys now.
How the fucking what's going on here? Wait.
Don't you hate that?
Yeah, I do. Wait. Where are you? Where are you? Hold on.
I'm invisible. I did the Bert thing from the show Soap. I did.
All right. So I'm gonna keep just so you guys can see. So look at this pair of pants, right? So this pair of pants, for real, let's say 4 months ago, 5 months ago, was literally just, it was a tight pair of pants. Now, just so you know, I never wear my, like, when they test you, they do your waist. I never wear pants at my waist. I would be wearing 45-inch waist pants, but I wear 36, right? So let's do this. So these pants, let me do this. So these pants, if I took my belt off, I'm going to show you guys, I could get in trouble for this. So make sure you don't tell anybody, right? So watch this. So the belt, like the belt is on its final loop, but these pants, I would do, they're regular pants, like it's falling out of the belt and everything. But watch this. If I take this belt off, watch, let me just, Jeremy.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
See that?
That's what I'm. If
there,
I
look, the buttons buttoned. They're literally like, look at this.
Yeah, I'm keeping all my big clothes so I could one day when I get to my goal weight, take pictures of me in it.
What's your goal weight, buddy?
185.
185, huh? You're 5'10", right?
Yeah. I mean, and
185 is wow. What do you weigh? Where are you?
Right now,
yeah.
I stopped weighing myself so I don't commit suicide. Like I only weigh once a month, but I'm going to estimate that I'm about 222. Yeah,
you can't live by the scale because I forgot. I should probably bring you back on. But you can't live by, that's actually in a food addiction world, and you don't weigh yourself every day because it could be anything, that up and down, and then it literally governs your happiness.
Right. It can vary. Like that's what I realized, because it can vary by when's the last time you went to the bathroom. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Totally.
So, it's just good to do it once a month. How did I do? Yeah, that's.
Good morning.
The only tempting thing is sometimes you want to see if what you're doing is working. Like I'm shifting to keto. Is this working? Like I need to get on the scale to know if it's working.
Yeah, well, and like when I did HCG, do you remember HCG? You ever do that one?
No, I don't know.
It was like a shot, like you did a shot in your stomach every morning. But what it was, dude, was like you ate fucking 500 calories a day. The diet was so stringent, but you weighed yourself every day for 30 days. You would literally lose a pound a day, if not a little bit more. So it was like weigh yourself. This is what it said: evacuate your bladder and then weigh yourself every morning. So the first thing you do, you wake up, you take a leak, and you weigh yourself, and every single day you would see a pound or like 1.3, 1 point every single day. So it was like crazy. So you lose 30 plus pounds in a month, which is incredible. But dude, you're starving. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that. The HCG takes away, it does help, but it's like, anyway, I did that. But other than that, like, my wife, who's, been in the food thing for many years, like every couple, I think a week or 2 weeks, I weigh her. She doesn't look. And I text it to her nutritionist. So she doesn't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool.
Because you don't want to live and die by that.
Yeah. But, I got it to a point where Jocelyn yelled at me and said, "I'm going to take the scale away," because I would get so mad. I know this is bullshit. I did everything. I worked out, and she's like, "I'm taking the scale away," because what happened is the next day I'd get on the scale and suddenly I went down 2 pounds because your body just fluctuates, right? So anyway, that's why I'm not going to weigh myself every day. But do you notice that when you're losing weight, especially in the beginning when you start dieting and you're really losing weight, that I don't know about you, but I pee 100 times a night. Like I'm getting up long pee.
Well, look, if you're doing it right, you're drinking a lot of water too, right? So that happens too. So it's just at some point your body's like, buddy, drink a lot of water today.
Liquid IV. But it also it's got to get rid of the fat's got to go somewhere. It's got to get it out somehow. Right? So it's So real quick before we get to your comment, E-Boogie, who's just look at that 24 months, 2-year anniversary of E-Boogie supporting the channel. And he's also a beanbagger. So like E-Boogie, thank you, my friend. I just so appreciate you. He comes to every Wednesday night. He's always with us, man. E-Boogie. But I just want to so infrared real quick, E-Boogie. I'll put you right back up. And that'll be our segue into actually talking about the Jets tonight. Infrared says, I have 3 tickets for the draft and won't be able to attend because I got to work. Fucking work. It's bullshit. If anyone needs tickets for April 24th, Thursday night, let me know. Wow, guys. Wow, that's huge.
Well, number one, Infrared, thank you for putting that out there for everybody. I wish I could take it. There's no way. Where is it? Where's the draft this year?
Isn't it always in Indianapolis now? Or is
no. That's the combine.
Oh, the combine is in Indianapolis. Why am I thinking?
Last year, the draft was in Vegas. Where is it this year? I don't even remember.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Let's see. Where is the
2025 NFL draft?
Lambeau Field? Get out of here.
No.
Is that right?
Where is the NFL 2025 draft? Green Bay Packers.
Is that it? It's going to be at Lambeau.
Holy shit.
Wow. That's fucking crazy.
Green Bay. Wow. I'll tell you.
But everybody, I want to see I took off my pants. This is what we got. By the way, Jeremy looks great. Yeah. Danger Zone says, I missed this duo. Yeah, well, we're a staple on Sundays for the game. We needed a break from each other. We did, Jeremy and I have chosen to hang out for 4 hours every weekend and be utterly miserable together. Like, that's what we do.
So you need a break.
It's like the worst possible. Think about, dude, our friendship is supposed to be dissolved by design. You know what I mean? We're not supposed to have made it this far.
I mean, we've had some close calls of some where it's gotten tense because, when you like, we've gotten frustrated and stuff.
Yeah.
But overall,
DMing Jeremy like, hey, dude, cut the fucking shit.
But overall, I think,
Yeah, look, Billy said, please don't do this when I was doing my pants. Oh, that just spoiled my ice cream. That's good.
You know, the thing is about the Jets is when I get good, I'm the worst when I have hope and there's hope.
Yeah.
And I see it deteriorate. That's when I crumble. But once we're done, once it's over, like after that Pittsburgh game, once it's over, then you never have to talk to me about being negative. Because then I'm just
right. And it's because it's easy. You're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right, because it really is. Like last year was such a difficult pill to swallow, because and I know so many of us, right? Like I bought in.
Yeah.
I thought last year we had, and you saw the NFL, 7 more primetime games, second year in a row, Monday Night Football, 3 games in the first 10 days of the season, which is number one, setting us up for failure. Like, it's just, that's not the reason, but it didn't fucking help. But it's like when you looked at our roster last year, the hope, to go from legitimate Super Bowl hope, right? Like, and not everybody got there, but it was like, we're definitely going to go into the play. We're going to contend for the division, 12 wins minimum. That's if you would have told me Aaron Rodgers is going to start every game, would you, if you said you have to put $1,000 down on one of these, Aaron Rodgers is starting every game, and Halloween, the Jets are going to trade for Devontae Adams. So you'll have Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson and whatever. And if they would have told you that and said, you have $1,000, you're going to put it on 12 wins or 5 wins. 100% of the people would have put it on 12 wins.
There's no way. And even if you saw Rodgers' numbers, because they weren't that bad, right?
And he's going to throw for 3,800 yards, 26 touchdowns, and
have the third best quarterback, season in Jets history.
And Garrett Wilson's going to have 1,000 yards. You're going to have 2,000-yard receivers.
Will McDonald's going to be double-digit sacks.
Dude, there's when you look at it all, we won 5 games. It's the most difficult season that I can. It's like we've had 1 in 15 years, 3 in 13 years. We've had 10 and 6 missing the playoffs. That's all painful. Nothing compared to last year for me. I questioned whether I wanted to keep doing it. I'm being honest with you. I honestly questioned why I spend so much time not only paying attention, right? But actually engaging, looking at prospects, all the shit that we do. I was like, I really took some time and said, do I want to continue this?
Yeah. The feeling
to produce nothing.
The feeling for me first started oh my God, is this really happening? Was the game we were at. We crushed New England. I said, wow, it's coming together. Rodgers is getting back. Forget the Niners game. Rodgers is coming back. The defense is fixing a little bit of the issues. I said, it's coming together. Walking out of that stadium after we played the Broncos.
Yeah.
When I started mumbling to myself, it's the same shit.
It's exactly the same.
We can't shake this. It doesn't matter who we put on the field. That's how I started.
It looked and felt like the same game that we were at the year before, which was the Chargers game. Remember? It felt the same, complete and utter ineptitude.
Yeah.
Up and 3, down and 3, up and 3, down and 3, up and 3. And the game's boring. We're in this, and that one sucked because it was pouring on us the whole day. We didn't even get a good hang. We made the best of it, but without the rain.
The only great memory I have of that day is your little girl.
My daughter.
When we were sitting in the car, wet, cold, and miserable. And I'm talking about the parking lot, the lousy stadium, the losing, and how much money it costs. And he wants us to order the preseason tickets and pay for it by Thanksgiving or whatever.
Yeah.
Talking about the money. And she looks up and she goes, they should pay us. was just
Yeah.
like the moment of my season. Like it's the
Yeah.
only thing I remember back joyfully because I laughed so hard when she said that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like that was her first game. We were all excited. I was convinced we were winning that game. Like, there's no way. We're playing Bo Nix. He hasn't thrown a touchdown yet. Of course, his first touchdown was against us. You know, but it was like this kid, we're going into week 4. He hasn't even thrown a touchdown pass yet.
Yeah.
We got Aaron Rodgers. They looked brilliant against the Patriots the week before on Thursday Night Football. We had a couple extra days of rest. And it's like we walked out. And that's the mark of a Robert Saleh team. Like we saw, like, God forbid, you don't give them an extra half hour to rest. You know what I mean? Like, if we got an extra day, an extra week, and he had no idea how to keep this team engaged. He just didn't know how to do it. And like you would think with Aaron Rodgers, it's like, you know, it's just terrible. So yeah, that's when it was like, look, and we still held out hope and we had some little bursts and okay, if we do this and this and you keep it going, but it was unfucking believable, Jeremy.
I always hold it to myself for some amount of time. So whenever you see me finally pop, know that I've been holding it in for some amount of time.
Exactly right. I get
right
it.
away. It started brewing. I popped the Pittsburgh game is when I popped somewhere in the third quarter.
Yeah, because we were dominating them. We were dominating, dude. We had looked like we were going to run away with that thing. One interception, and the game went completely 180.
Season.
Everybody's dropping passes and fumbling, and it's like, what the fuck just happened? And that's leadership. When there's a hole in the boat, all right, we're sailing, we're looking great, and there's a hole in the boat.
Yeah.
A leader goes, okay, there's a hole in the boat. What we're going to do? Oh, water. Yeah. Well, don't worry about it. We're going to plug it, and then we're going to get the water out, and we're going to keep going. Robert Saleh had no ability, and we saw it for 4 straight years, the exact same thing. Most of the time, slow starts. In Pittsburgh, it was the opposite. We actually came out and looked like we got something together here early, which was rare. But as soon as it turns, there's a hole in the boat, we're sinking. Yep. We're sinking. He has no idea. And the reason, it's like, that's where things like accountability, you can identify who's poking holes in the boat, you know. You can look. That guy benched, and everybody else, this ain't happening today. No, none of it. E-Boogie.
There's probably a handful of games in the last 4 years, GreenBean, that I can remember. Forget about the wins. How many games can we think about where we played all 4 quarters?
It's a handful.
So few.
The Patriots game on Thursday night was one of them, which is why we got so excited.
Yeah.
Because there were little flashes. Look, we beat Tennessee the week before, and there were flashes against the Niners. You know, look, we looked sloppy. It took a minute, but you know what I mean? That beautiful pass, the touchdown pass to Lazard down the seam. It was like, okay, it's going to take us a minute. We're rusty, new offensive line, Rodgers coming back from the Achilles, all this stuff. But it was like, okay, we found a way to beat the Titans. We looked brilliant against the Pats. That was a very, very rare full 4-quarter game. It was like, okay. And we come out and laid a complete egg against the Broncos and then went to London and lost there. And it was like, we were 2-1. Now we're 2-3. And it's like, what? And then they fucking fire Robert Saleh, and it's crazy. Right. E-Boogie, sorry it took me so long to get back to you, my good friend. He says, fellas, which picker picks you feel comfortable with to trade away for more picks or to move up in the draft or for a current player? That's an interesting question, E-Boogie. Let me see. Fellas, that much I got. Which pick or picks you feel comfortable with to trade away for more picks or to move up in the draft for a current player?
So other than just talking about 7, would you feel comfortable trading 42 and going back to 55 and maybe getting 70 in return, like from someone, or 78.5 or another third round pick?
Well, I don't think this is the year. and not the draft, but I don't think it's the year to use our draft capital for established players, right? Like really, like I just don't, like we're having a youth movement right now. Do you agree?
100%. Everything we're doing says there's no way we would trade picks for a player.
Yeah, I just don't see it. So now if you can get like a starting level, let's say defensive end, and somebody else just want, like, they're deep and they got a young third-year guy, he's flashed, but they would rather have a sixth-round pick, and there's some stuff like that you can move around, and do. But like as far as
the way we got what's his face, the tight ends, like the way we from Minnesota. Or was it from Minnesota? Yeah.
No, wait. Who are you thinking of? The tight end? Like me, Dan Brown? That guy?
No. Who's our tight end that we just lost? The guy we like.
Conklin? No, Conklin we just got in free agency.
I thought we traded for Conklin. Didn't we?
No. He was just a free agent signing.
Oh, I thought we traded fifth round.
Yeah, no. So stuff like that. But so I would say that this year it's more beneficial to just use our picks. Now, if you want to trade up a little bit, and we'll talk about that in a second. But if you want to move up a little bit, you package, if you're in the third round and you want to jump up 10 spots and you throw in a sixth, because there's a play. Yeah, I'm fine with that. And I would be happy if they did some of that. Truth is, number one, I would love to see the Jets pull off a legitimate trade from 7, right? I would love to see them do that. Like, for example, and we messed with it with the, in the mock last night, that Atlanta rumor. Right? Like something like that. Like I would love if the Jets slide back from 7 to, 15. So that's 8 spots. So somebody's going from 15, deep into the top 10. That costs, right? So who are they coming up for? The rumor was for some defensive help. But let's say, Shador Sanders makes it to our pick. There are going to be teams, there's only a handful, but there are going to be teams that's further back than they maybe thought he'd be. That's striking distance, right? Like, so top 3, you're paying too much. 7, maybe I'm willing to do it. So you can do something, but like, so that trade with Atlanta, going back 8 spots and getting next year's first, even if that's all it is, I'd like to get something for this year. But if you can get next year's first, and the rumor was Kyle Pitts. So Kyle Pitts, they're looking to dump the contract. He's been a disappointment. You want to, whatever. If they're willing to do that, Kyle Pitts, while he hasn't been, he has not lived up to the number 4th overall pick billing, right? Definitely not. But the guy's not bad. He's produced. He had 600 yards last year, 50 plus receptions. He had 1,000 years his rookie year. He's had like 500 plus every year. So he's good. And he's had he's Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota, half a year with Cousins, half a year with rookie Penix. So it's like, you look at it, a good change of scenery. He's super athletic. So it could be good for him. You know what I mean? It could be one of those things
the negative on him is where he was drafted. If he was drafted in the 5th round, everybody's saying, "Oh, he's pretty."
Or even the second round. Yeah, something. Yeah, right. So he was supposed to be the next coming. And look, man, he's 24 years old. So who knows? There are kids coming out this draft that are older than him. Nuts. So anyway, something like that. Like I would love to trade back to 12, 13, 15. And get a second this year and some change.
I want another second round pick so bad.
It would be great.
Yeah.
It would be really great.
My dream is trade back to 12, then trade back to 20, get 2 top 50 picks and end up getting like Banks, the offensive tackle, or Golden, the wide receiver, or Loveland, the tight end. Like still getting a guy like that's not even far off who we might pick in the top 10 anyway. And then walk away with 2 second round picks. It's a fantasy, but that's my dream.
Yeah. So Big Will saying Saleh wasn't allowed to hold people. That is a fantasy. Big Will. That's a fantasy, brother. He's the head coach of a team. And you want to talk about the Rodgers piece. Like, look, if Rodgers got him fired, I don't know. That sounds possible to me. You know what I mean? We don't know, but I'll buy that. piece that, if Woody's going to choose one over the other, he's going to choose Aaron Rodgers but don't forget, there were 2 years before Rodgers got here that Saleh had. It was the same song and dance, man. It was exactly the same. People say that if, Zach, like I had a whole discussion with somebody the other day, he said Zach got him fired. Well, he had 2 years, a year, but not even, but Zach was a fucking problem. But let me tell you something. Robert Saleh was a part of the collective that drafted, right? Don't forget that. He was the head coach. He just got here. They got rid of Sam and they got a new quarterback. Robert Saleh is the one that had Rob Calabrese as the quarterback coach for 4 years. He's never done anything like if you're going to use the number 2 overall pick, and you said Joe Douglas too, don't get me wrong, but he's a part of that collective. They were lockstep, man. Those two guys were thick as thieves. You saw it in the draft room. You know what I mean? Like again, Malachi Corley, no matter what. And he can't fucking figure out how to get him on the field. Why was he so important? That kind of stuff. Robert Saleh picked his staff. Now, Hackett, I'll give you. Hackett was by design. They wanted Aaron Rodgers. And look, the move, it was a worthwhile swing. Well, Robert Saleh, the team started slow for 4 years. Okay? Robert Saleh stood on the sideline saying and doing nothing for 4 straight years. The only time you saw anything from Robert Saleh, he would argue with the refs from time to time, sure. But the only time you saw him doing anything on the sideline was when something good was happening on the field. Then he was like, rah, rah, rah. He's a cheerleader. Just like with the Joe Beningo thing that happened. Robert Saleh was trying to be buddies with everybody. That's his thing. He came out of the gate. One of the first things he said, and it rubbed me really bad when I heard it in his rookie year. He said his design, he tells players, my job is to get you paid. So we're going to, and now I know what he's trying to say. We're going to work, we're going to make it so you're successful, so you're valued and all that. I get it. But that is the absolute wrong way to have that. You don't go at it like that. That's not what a leader does. Robert Saleh, dude, he had 2 complete offensive staffs. You know what I mean? And again, Hackett, Rodgers, I get it. Rodgers took over the team. I'm with it. But Robert Saleh held no one accountable. You're going to tell me that he couldn't have fucking benched the offensive lineman, Tyron Smith? He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. There's no way. He had a first-round pick sitting there. He would never bench Tyron Smith. Okay? He never benched anybody not named Denzel Mims or Malachi Corley. Jeremy, tell me who he benched. Tell me who we developed offensively in 4 years. Tell me.
He was selective in who he would hold accountable and who he wouldn't, and it was based on experience and the power of the player. It's very obvious. Chris Rock said, with Will Smith, selective violence, right? 1 million people was insulting his wife. Who did he go after? Chris Rock, the little thin guy, right?
That's right.
But it's the same thing. It's selective. He would hold some guys accountable, and then he was afraid of other guys. Remember they had to twist his arm to get Garrett Wilson on the field in the beginning? We were at the Ravens game. We said,
that's right. Remember that?
We were once he made that move, we all looked
crazy move.
We're like, how is he not the automatic no-brain WR1?
Yeah, we had Lawrence Cager starting over him. Lawrence Cager. Anyway, so look, and I don't mean to be argumentative with you, Bigwell. I'm not trying to do that, but this idea that anyone got Robert Saleh fired, it's a fantasy, dude. Robert Saleh was a terrible head coach, and good guy, knows defense, no doubt about it. But again, dude, they gave him everything he needed. He had 7 first-round picks on his defensive line. 7. Now, admittedly, Kinlaw, Tack McKinley, they didn't exactly live up to first-round billing, but that's what he had. He had Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Solomon Thomas, Javon. These are his guys. He's the reason Javon Kinlaw and Solomon Thomas were here. He had all those first-round picks on his deep. That's what he got everything he wanted here. You know what I mean? Sauce Gardner as a 4th overall pick. And, it's I don't know, man.
He
The
can't-
DJ Reed was even a solid guy. Don't
Right.
forget, he had him in Seattle.
And one of the things I'm most curious about is every player, how they're going to look with a new coaching staff. Like, I can't wait to see this offensive,
particularly
line.
offensively,
The
right?
the offense, like the offensive line individually, we know they were good, but as a unit, they weren't as good as they should have been. And I want to see a real offensive line coach now, and a real coordinator, and a real coach, and like a real freaking coaching staff, what this offensive line could look like. And even like a guy like, this is why I wouldn't cut him unless he's horrible in camp. Even a guy like Jeremy Ruckert, I want to see what he looks like with a real coaching staff.
Right. Like, look, as much as we liked Middleton, hit it. Like, right, we love Middleton, but
didn't develop tight ends.
What did he do?
Right.
He did nothing here. And the thing is, like, if you look at, remember the one night I don't know, on maybe it was this stream, I forget. Wow, I just see on my screen, I'm seeing when I took off my pants. Not a good look, GreenBean. Not a good look. Like, here I go, shaking off my fucking pants here.
I tried to tell you.
Yep, my ding-a-ling's flapping around. I'm gonna get banned. Anyway, you look at Middleton's career. He's got 20 years in the league, let's say. 2 years he was part of a winning organization. So what he really is, he's a bottom tier tight end coach. The good teams don't ever hire him. He's with the Bucks. He's with the Cardinals. He's with the Jets. Like, again, not taking a shot at the guy, but it's like, when you realistically, objectively look at it, I loved Middleton when he was here. I was a fan of him being, when they fired Robert Saleh, which I disagreed with, I thought Middleton should have been the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's clearly, at least he's a leader. You know what I mean? He's vocal.
Well, it would have been smarter, because the reason other teams do that, why the special teams become the head coach, because you need your defensive coordinator to stay the defensive coordinator.
Right. That's actually working. Right.
Right.
You don't mess with that, but that's the Jets, right? Yeah.
Right. Middleton would have been the better head coach for sure, because
I think so.
It would have kept our defensive coordinator where he belongs.
Yeah. So, all right, Joe M checking in. What's up, Joe? And congratulations, Joe M won the thing in the previous stream. I think he even gave it away or some shit. I forget how it went, but congrats anyway, Joe. This is what I was saying earlier, GreenBean, with us constantly trading back. Why? It seems to be the trend every year. Everyone wants just to trade back instead of taking the best player. Well, it depends, right? So last year, we actually did trade back. We traded back one slot, which was very smart. We were going to take Olu there.
Right.
So you slide back one spot, you weigh it out. There's no real threat. Minnesota's not going to jump up and take Olu. They're coming up for McCarthy, or it could have been Bo Nix, who knew at that moment. But you slide back, you squeeze a pick out of it, and you take the guy you were going to take anyway. That's smart, right? But Joe Douglas, when has he ever traded back in the first?
No, but
I don't think.
When did we want to? I didn't want to trade number 4 when we took Sauce Gardner. Nobody wanted to trade back.
Yeah, so Joe, I mean, it's one thing. Joe Douglas traded back in the other rounds numerous times, and he's traded up and all that kind. But Joe Douglas traded up in the first to get ABT. He traded back into the first to get Jermaine Johnson, and like Randy, what the fuck is your name, Jim? Like Jim said, Jeremy here. He said, like it's right. I completely forgot your name, man. For a second, I couldn't find it for a second.
I forgot Conklin's name. It happens.
Yeah, well, hey. Conklin a little bit better than you. But I don't know. I mean, Jets fans, I mean, everybody's you're going to get all kinds every year. But I don't think like last year we had pick 11. We ended up trading back a little bit. We were really looking to trade up, get one of those wide receivers. The year prior, the Will McDonald trade, we got Aaron Rodgers, so we flipped picks. But I didn't hear anybody saying trade back then. The year before, 2022, I mean, we had pick 4, we had pick 10. I don't remember anybody saying trade back then, really. Again, there's always somebody. And then we traded back into the first, and then in the second round, we traded up again to secure BREECE, who was the first running back taken in the draft. So I don't know. Like, right. And I hear what you're saying.
But this year, I think the thing with this year,
right?
There's no blue chip player unless somebody slips. There's no blue chip player at 7. It just isn't. If you look at the difference between the guys we talk about picking, someone says, pick Tyler Warren. Let me tell you something. Tyler Warren is my number 1 tight end, ranked, right? But not because he's the only, he doesn't definitely have the highest ceiling. There's 3 or 4 tight ends at least that might end up being better than him, or 1 out of the 4. What's great about Tyler Warren and why he's my number 1 is he has the highest floor. He's the solidest, safest guy. But the reality is Loveland might end up being the better tight end. It's very possible. So, but the reality is, like, even Tet McMillan, my number 1 receiver, but Golden might end up being better. Egbuka might end up being better. So my point is, I just don't think the gap of the guys that are there at 7 are that much different than the guys that are there at 15 to 20.
Yeah.
That's
what it is. So, like, in a draft like that, Joe, it makes sense because, like, look, if you really love a guy and like you're like, dude, this is our guy. I love his character. I love his traits. I love it, whatever, all the stuff. And he's there, you take him. But if you can squeeze more darts at it, like, so it's like you're at the Seaside Boardwalk and the guy goes $5 and you get 2 darts. And he says, or, you give me 10 more cents and I'll give you another dart. And you're like, you know what? Because that one more dart throw, it's one more chance that it's going to work. So if you can slide back, and like Jeremy just said, this isn't really, last year's draft was, dude, it was so nutrient rich. Like, that top 10 was amazing. Dude, we saw 9 offensive tackles and 7 wide receivers in the first draft, in the first round. That's insane.
It had to be in the top 10 last year. That's
the first, dude. The top 13 picks were 3 positions last year. 3: quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackle. That's it. That's crazy. This draft isn't that. Not to say that there's not going to be a Hall of Famer in here and some all pro. Of course. But as far as from a prospect standpoint, you're going to be able to get an equal tiered prospect at 15 than you are at 7. So if you have the opportunity to do that, gain that extra second, because that's where, again, it's all similar tiers. So the more darts you get, the better luck better chance you have on some of these guys sticking. Then you take it. You know what I mean? Then that's what you do. Again, if you love a guy, and we have enough holes that best player available makes sense this year. It's not like, we really need a defensive end and we really need a wide receiver and we're fucking taking a running back because he's the BPA. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, this, like the Breece Hall trade thing this year. Like, I don't understand it, Jeremy. Like, why would you want, now the only reason is because of money. But like, you trade Breece Hall when you're trading low, you're selling low because he's had, whatever, last year and everything. So you're going to get a 3rd round pick for him, probably, if you get that. But let's say you get a 3rd round pick and then you want to use your 7th overall pick for Genty. So now what you've done is you've created a hole where you didn't have one, and you're using your premium asset to fill it. So then you got this extra 3rd that's going to get you a guy that likely, you could find a starter, but likely is going to need a minute to develop. You know what I mean? He's going to, it's like, that's backwards. And if the Jets do that, I think it's a fool's errand, as good as Genty might be.
If they, first of all, and it's a huge stretch to say they'd get a 3rd round pick. You're being very generous, even conceding that as a possibility.
Tell everybody why.
You're talking about, well, he has 1 year left before you have to pay him, even if he had a good year for you. So now you have to pay him. So how much draft capital are you going to give a guy? You have a draft that is so incredibly deep in running back. We don't talk about it because we don't need one. This is probably the deepest running back draft in maybe in like 20 years, for real. This is so deep, this year's draft at running back. And this position itself has lost so much value because you never know where you're going to find your running back anyway. You don't have to take a guy in the top 10. So it's just, don't get me wrong, I love the player. I love Genty. And it's like he's probably going to be amazing. But the reality is what you're saying. To sit there and say, let's say the reality is someone offered us a 4 for BREECE Hall, and we did it and then drafted Genty. It's just what you said. We've done nothing. We've only done the gap between BREECE Hall and Genty. That's how much we've improved the team.
Right.
But we've done nothing.
Like we've done nothing.
We've done
nothing. It's a net negative.
Right.
It's silly.
It just makes no sense. You lost the opportunity to add a wide receiver too. You've lost the opportunity with a good pick. You've lost the opportunity to add your right tackle. You could even argue, rather than take Genty, I'd rather just take the safety. Like, you want to at least fill
because then you're at least filling a need, right? Hold on a second. Let me look here. Let me look at something. Then we'll get to the next comments. Are from Arbiv. You mind reading that for me real quick? I just want to find something right here.
The Jets will be about coaching. The Jets will be about coaching. I'd rather see a 5-win team fighting and well coached and on the right track than 7 sloppy wins with Fields running all over the place. I tend to agree that that I honestly feel it's hard though, because it's very difficult to win 5 games and feel good about the coaching. Like no matter how it plays out, right? Like no matter what, it's very hard. He might do a great job, and it's that 5 games might be outplaying the roster he's being given. You could make that argument maybe with the holes we might go into the season with, but it's almost impossible to detect that. Like how many times have you looked at a 5-win team, unless they were a 0-win team or a 1-win team, and then go to 5 wins? It's very rare that then you could say good things about the coach. The only example I have of that is Brian Flores when he took over Miami. People thought they were going to go 0-16 that year, and he won 5 games, and people said that was a good job. You know, it's very rare because like that you could win 5 games and have us having evidence or saying. I mean, I guess I know what you're saying, but you really. I mean, I guess you see the players fighting hard on the field. That's a hard thing to really see if you're only winning 5 games. Like it's very rare.
Yeah, but I do get the point, right? So it's like, and this is where this really comes in when we're talking about at the end of every year, our tradition is to argue about lose out for draft or to win games, what some people's meaningless games, or is it good for the team? Is it good for young guys? You never play to lose and all that kind of shit. And I do agree, the guys on the field, you don't play to lose, right? But as a fan, what are you rooting for, And this is the thing. And the Jets, like I talk about all the time, is that we don't even know how to suck right? So like we've been among the bottom end of the league for fucking 25 years, really, with a couple years here and there. 20 years, let's say, we suck. But we haven't figured out a way to suck in the right way and get the prize for sucking, which is the number 1 overall pick, whether that's to get the top player in the draft or to trade back and get some sort of haul. We haven't had the number 1 overall pick since 1997.
Man, we don't even lose right.
That's it. We don't know how to suck right. So that's how bad we really suck. And that's what I see in this point, Arbiv. It's like I'd rather see the team, win 5 games and look like they're putting something together than find a way to win a bunch of games. But it's like we're clearly on the wrong track, so to speak. We're just, late field goals, like weird, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of stuff. And that's annoying. Like you really, now all that said, I don't want to see another 5-7 win team, man. Now, if we do win, and like you said, we're heading in the right direction. Fields threw for 3,300. And 3,200, and he fucking ran for another 400 yards, and he's got a bunch of touchdowns. He's looking good. Him and Garrett Wilson's got another 1,200 yards. BREECE Hall's got 1,200 yards. Like that, all right, you know what I mean? Like the line's looking good. All that stuff. It looks like we got something. And then next year we're gonna plug in the weaknesses and shit like that. That's a different story. But like, I'm really hoping this year, and I know it's my fandom, but I believe that coaching was the problem, just like you're saying. I believe, I will not have I just can't buy into the idea that anybody sabotaged that coaching staff. They had every fucking resource, man. And look, there were games where Zach Wilson was on the field. Don't tell me that there was a directive that he couldn't bench Zach Wilson. He was garbage. One game in particular, we're playing the Patriots, all right, in 2022, I think it was. Zach Wilson looked really good in the first quarter, really good. Looked clean, crisp. He throws a pick. That was the game where JFM, Michael Carter II, pick six. JFM hit the quarterback, got called back. So instead of that touchdown, they got 15 yards, kicked a field goal. It was a 10-point swing before the half. Zach came out and he threw 3 fucking interceptions. Robert Saleh had Mike White with his helmet on, standing on the sideline. That game was we could have won that game at any time if we didn't. And he would not pull the Mike White was standing there with his helmet on. All he had to do was pull Zach because Zach was losing the game for us.
Right. He
was losing the game and he wouldn't do it. And that comes from, there's 2 sides to that. One is you're loyal to the guy. You're not going to just pull him at the first sign of difficulty, right? You want to get him through it. I get it. But that's not where he is. He's a year and a half into his career. He's losing the game. Sit him, even if it just sit him for the quarter.
Right.
And put him back in next week. You, as a head coach, you got to do that shit. You got to save the fucking game, Jeremy.
Teams do that all the time.
All the time.
The worst part about that to me was GreenBean is that when I don't want to be smarter than my coach.
Right.
When you and me are smarter than they are, that's a problem. And in the last few years, and I want to just say we in the chat, when we're watching the game, our chat is right there with us.
Right.
The chat and us, when we're right, the last 3 years that we've been doing this, we are right over the coaches way too often. Because they're getting paid lots of money. This is their life, and we're fans, and we're right. And they're right. And we're not doing. And the number one thing that Aaron Glenn said this offseason, probably the thing I'm most hopeful about, that got me the most excited about him as a coach, is when he said the exact opposite of what this coaching staff has done for the last 4 years. He said about Justin Fields, but it's his philosophy overall with the team. He goes, we will play and build an offense that works for Justin Fields
around his strengths.
What we have. Right. And that's what we haven't had in 4 years. No. And that philosophy will be with our entire team. We will build, we will play defense, we will play offense, we will do things that cater to the strength and to the roster that we have.
Correct. And that's what a coach's job is. Not to waste a year because I don't have my guys yet.
Right.
Next year, we got some, and then next year I'm going to get this and that. Like when he would hold, look, Malachi Corley is a great example. And that was Saleh and Ulbrich because Saleh was obviously not here. They traded up for this guy in the third. They were trying to trade up further for him. They wanted to make him a 2nd-round pick. You can't get him on the field because he doesn't run this. He doesn't have the, like with Denzel Mims, he's got to run the whole, he's got to learn this position and that position. Meanwhile, we have Elijah Moore who's fucking surgical over the middle of the field. We got him running go routes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just
it's like, it's like you're not paying attention. We said it all the time. One of the things, look, Mike LaFleur was a very good offensive mind. Schematically, we would watch the all 22 and everything, and you'd see it. Guys are schemed open all day long. He was a good offensive coordinator, but he lacked 2 things. One is player development. There was none of that. Again, we didn't see a single offensive player developed in fucking 4 years. Mike LaFleur sucked at that too. His interpersonal relationships were garbage.
Horrible.
The other thing was he had no game awareness. And I'll give you 2 examples. One is, and interestingly enough, Hackett kept the tradition going. So did Downing. It's fucking amazing. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, empty backfield. Okay. Now you do it once here and there. You're going to trick some. Fine. It was consistent. Why in the world would you have as your rule of thumb when it's 3rd and 1, we're 5 wide. Why would nobody? You've removed the fear, the pause that they have to consider that running back's getting the ball's going to punch it through and get that 3 feet. So they're like playing the run. You take that off. Now they're pinning their ears back. They're pass rushing. That's what they did that. Consider another thing was this. I saw it happen so many times. It was so frustrating. We talked about it while it was happening. When there's an injured player, like on the offensive line, you got a rookie coming in as a right tackle. What should you be doing? 2 things. One is you account for him. You know he's now the weak part on the line. So you give him a tight end, right? You give him some help. And what else should you be doing? Running away. The other side.
Yeah.
Dude, 9 times out of 10, the next play, they would fucking run right to that point. Like you replace the guard, you put Xavier Newman in as center. He's the first time he's ever snapping the ball. We're running a fucking A-gap dive. Why?
There's no common sense.
There's no the awareness. Like it's like, and when you have your scripted offense, right? Everybody does it. You have 10 plays, 15 plays, 20 plays, whatever it is, scripted because of all your tape, all your read. This is how we're gonna come out. If you're doing, and Bill Belichick, who I hate, is on record saying this. Sometimes your game plan, you realize when you come out, what you have planned, they've matched it well. You have to adjust. It's not going to work. You got to fix it. Sometimes he said this, you can't wait till halftime. Sometimes 10 plays in, you got to change your whole game plan. They would stay to it. It's not working. They would just run into the pile.
They wouldn't do it throughout the season. I mean, Frankie was calling it for us all season long. The 11 personnel. That's what worked for us. 11 personnel. And they wouldn't do it because that's not what their philosophy and scheme was. So they refused to do what was working. 11 was working. And it was like, and when they didn't put 0 running backs in the backfield with 3rd and 1, what would they do? They'd run a 22 personnel. Again, take out all the guessing. Tell the other team exactly what you're going to do.
Right.
How about 11 personnel on 3rd and 1?
That's
where
right.
There's still the possibility of a run.
That's right. There's still right. Exactly. And not for nothing on 3rd and 1, if you have a passing play called and you have a running back, they're thinking you're running it. They're leaning that way. And they should be.
Yeah.
But no.
Right. You got 3 wide receivers. You got your slot. You got 2 wide receivers. You got a tight end in there on the line. You got your running back in the backfield. The defense doesn't know what you're going to do.
Yep. Exactly. So it's like, so that in-game awareness, it's like there was just none of it. The past 4 years, there was none of it. And Robert Saleh is the leader. I mentioned it last week when he said at the beginning of the year, I'm going to be in more offensive meetings this year, that he's saying that like it's a positive. Like I'm going to be, no, but what's really being said is I'm not in the offensive meetings. That's what he's saying. How the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sick of this. Remember when Adam Gase was the coach? Greg Williams, who I loved as a defensive coordinator. I mean, that's my kind of defense.
It was the only good part of that team.
It was the only good thing we had. But what did he call him? The head coach of the defense. That's fucking absurd. He's not the head coach of anything. You're the head coach.
Right. That's another thing I love about Aaron Glenn. He goes, I am an offensive coach because I'm a coach.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a coach. So look, we don't know what Glenn's going to be, right? We don't know. So don't mean to be,
I like what he's saying. I like what he's saying.
But we like what he's saying. And that's the thing is that he comes from a lineage that there is no nonsense. There is discipline. So these things, they match up to what you believe he is.
The way he handles the media is already better.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So E-Boogie checking back in. Thank you, buddy. He says, if A-Rod doesn't sign with the Steelers, how do you guys feel if the Jets resign? If it's just an if question. So I think there's absolutely no chance in hell that happens.
I would have killed to been a fly on the wall when Glenn had the first conversation with Rodgers. I would have killed to know the conversation and the real reasons that we will never know, maybe, and the real conversation. I would love to know. But somehow I think however it went, there's no chance this would ever happen.
Yeah, there's just no way, Boogie. Like don't get it twisted, right? Like the 50%, if not more, of why he's not here is because of the noise, right? And the potential for there to be that fracture. We have a rookie offensive coordinator with a rookie head coach. Now they can be as confident in everything as they want, but you're coming into an organization where there is an established relationship with the quarterback and his receivers. And look, truth is, everybody loves Aaron Rodgers. You know, like the teammates, they were not, they, all the news aside, like news is whatever it is. They make stories about whatever. The locker room, dude, they loved that guy. He was great with them, right? Most of them anyway. I'm sure not everybody, but most of the team loved him. If you come in, you got a rookie, you're trying to install a new offensive system. You're the new guy. And you not only have the relationship of they know each other, but you have four-time MVP, Super Bowl champ, Hall of Fame guy. And if he's not digging what you're fucking laying down, it's a problem. He can be your number one issue. And then you have to do this walk on eggshells and get him to buy in first. And fuck, that's what it was. And then once you got rid of him, Davante Adams, like, why on earth would I stay here? Guys, listen, all we need to do to tell you about the last 4 years too, and like whether or not anybody got anybody fired and whatever. Davante Adams was here 1 week and had to give a speech to the team about that's how you know. And like guys like Mike Williams, he said it was weird here. It's weird.
And they sold it as a good thing. Oh, Davante Adams, right away he made a speech and everything. And all I'm thinking is,
why did he need to?
Ridiculous is that?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
That's so embarrassing.
Like there's no leader here, and even Aaron Rodgers. Why the fuck? And it's a positive that Davante Adams would do. You know what I mean? Like that he's got that made. It is. But again, it's like the Saleh being in offensive meetings thing. It's like it is a positive that you're doing, but why haven't you been? It took you 3 years to figure out that as the head coach. You know what I mean? So when Davante Adams has to come here and do that, what that's really saying is he looked around and we just lost a game and there's nobody rallying anybody. Everybody's just walking. Everybody's lost. There's a rudderless ship. So like bringing A-Rod back, like, dude, they thought about it. They talked about it. They made the decision. And I guarantee, even though they might have been resolved in their decision, that's a big boy decision, man. You know what I mean? They made that decision.
Whether it's wrong or right, you got to say they're willing to step up and be big boys. They're not wearing diapers. He had the balls to step in there and decide that we're going to let Aaron Rodgers go.
Right.
That's ballsy. You think about it.
It really is. I mean, that's not an easy decision to make, man.
The safer, easier thing for a rookie head coach to do would have been to keep Aaron Rodgers without question.
Without question, because number one, you got a good chance of it all. Again, they had the year together, most of the 4/5 of the offensive line, BREECE, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Davante Adams. Like they're all still here.
Yeah.
You just re-signed Conklin. Like you're just running it back. And if it fails, you kind of got somewhat of a mulligan year built in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's a lot of positives to that. But they made the decision. It's not, those positives are not worth what I need to do here, which is to establish an entirely different culture. Hopefully, what like a Bill Parcells or a Sean Payton would install. I can't do it if Aaron Rodgers is here, especially if he's got Davante Adams with him. And then there's Allen Lazard. You know what I mean? You got like a three-headed monster. It's like, I can't do it. No.
He balanced in the whole picture, not just the 25 season. He balanced the whole picture, the whole story of we're not winning a Super Bowl. What's like in that story of how he's going to be the coach that leads us to the promised land, what's the more realistic story? And the story didn't have a mulligan year with Rodgers and Devontae and these 1 year guys, and then all leaving.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
no doubt.
That wasn't the path to 2027 and 2028, us being Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah. So like getting back to the Breece Hall thing, it's like so Jeremy, like we talked about, logically it makes no sense. We don't know these guys yet. We don't know if Muji's any good. He could be. We could find out that he's a fool.
Right.
Like McCagnon, remember when Joe Douglas got here, he had to reshape the thoughts of the Jets. Remember, we had all those stories that came out. The NFL used the Jets like to take advantage of, to use for leverage. Like agents knew this. Like Mike McCagnon was a complete sap, to pushover. He had no real plan. He thought he had a plan. He had no plan. He didn't let his coaches talk to the scouts because he didn't want coaches to impact all the hard work that his scouts did in evaluation. But that's fucking great. But does it even mesh with what we're doing for the team, dude? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. So, like, but the agents knew they could use the Jets. You know what I mean? And it's like, to whether trade value or, you know, negotiating, leverage and all that kind of stuff. That's what we were. If we got, remember, Avery Williamson said, the middle linebacker, he was signing with the Titans. He said that at the last minute, the Jets swooped in and offered me so much more money than I was going to get. I had to take it.
Yeah.
He said it frankly, just like that. The Jets came in and were paying me way more than I was about to sign for.
Yeah.
The agent said, dude, we got this deal. You want it? He said, holy shit. Yeah, I want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, that's how we had to get people. So Aaron Glenn now comes in with Muji. I think the one saving grace for me is that Spielman is here, Jeremy. Like, so Spielman, it gives me that it just gives me a little confidence that, like, whatever kind of childish antics they could get into, there's an adult in the room. And I don't know, Muji might be the best GM. He might, you know what I mean? He could end up being the greatest thing we've ever gotten. We don't know. But he is a rookie. So rookies bring with them rookie mistakes, no matter the position, whether it's a head coach, whether it's a quarterback or a cornerback or a linebacker or a fucking GM. It doesn't matter. They're going to make mistakes. They've never done it before, right? To be the decision maker. So Spielman being there, it settles me down a little bit. Like, all right, guys, let's talk about this first, that kind of a thing. But that said, Muji making that move with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and then letting, Solomon Thomas, obviously another hard decision, CJ Mosley, the leader of the defense, you know what I mean? They had to make all these decisions and eat a whole bunch of money to do it. But man, Muji, we got to really see what this guy's made of. And if he is willing to trade back, or if he is, who does he take? But start coming out of the gate with the Breece Hall thing. I think Spielman being in the room, if Muji was like, hey, look, I can get a third for Breece and avoid that contract next year, and I could just use it on Genti, or, maybe he would do something like that. But I think Spielman in the room would level that off. Now, your opinion, though, do you think the Jets would do you think it's, if you had to put $1,000 down, is Breece Hall a Jet in 25, or is he not a Jet in 25?
I think he's as much as anyone else. I would bet that he's a Jet in 2025. Like, that's where those side I would pick, as almost all of our players, like that are solid, good players, like Quentin Williams, or Quincy Williams, or, and I would imagine he's going to be a Jet. I don't see any reason why he's not going to be a Jet. I don't think anything Aaron Glenn said makes me think he's not going to be a Jet. All it makes me think is he's a guy who sees that we have three talented guys in the room, and that in his experience, what works is a three-headed monster. If you have three guys, that's the better way to go. Go with the hot hand, wear down the defensive line, keep fresh legs. I think that he's just recognizing that the other two running backs are very good, and it doesn't make sense to just run one guy all the time.
Yeah. And I really want to see what Breece Hall is. Like when you look at these games, like let me just real quick, and I see you, Red Bean. I'm gonna get to you in just a sec, buddy boy. Let me see something here. Wait, Breece Hall. I think let me see if we got it by the game. Wait, come on.
I think Matt O'Leary pointed out, I think like from weeks 4 to from when Olu started playing.
Yeah.
Breece Hall averaged 4.7 yards per carry from when Olu became the starter. It was something like that. It aligns. It was like game 4 and on. Breece Hall was 4.7 yards per carry or something like that. Like he was fine. We just abandoned the run like crazy. Like, you know, we're behind a lot because we're behind a lot, you know. And
yeah, well, some of that, right. Some of it makes sense, but you would see it. And then like all throughout his career, like the year before we signed Dalvin Cook and he had to split carries with him for the first, 2/3 of the season. And then, but don't forget too, like we had Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, and Michael Carter. And Michael Carter was our third down back for whatever reason. Not like he's a great blocker because he's not. He's very willing, but he's not a very effective blocker. But he was our penciled in third down back for a while, for the first chunk of. So it's like Breece Hall. He's always got to like split. It's weird. I mean, just he's the fucking running back. Like use him, right? So let's look at this real quick. This is his season. This is right. This is 2000. This doesn't look right. Wait a minute. Yeah, London. All right. So the first game, he gets 16 carries. That first game was a mess. Remember that? So it was 16 carries. He has 54 yards and a touchdown, 3.4 yard average, Jeremy. The next game, 14 carries, 62 yards, 16 carries, 54 yards, 10 carries against Denver. Remember that game? That game was a complete turd.
I was miserable, sitting there cold and shivering.
Yeah, so we give Breece Hall 10 carries that day, 9 carries against the Vikings, 18 carries. Well, there we go. Against the Bills, 12 carries, 16 carries, 15 carries, 10 carries, 16, 12, 9, 40. So like he's never seen a 20 carry game.
Right.
Now, some of it, look, the first half of this, don't forget, they changed the blocking schemes this, right? They went from that wide zone to the power scheme last year. And we have no real coaching to install it. Like Keith Carter's garbage and everything. So it's like there's a lot to this. I want to see Breece Hall with an offensive mind that knows what the hell he's doing, knows how to use him. Like you said, build around the player's strengths and actually use him. 20, 25 touches a game. You know what I mean? As a premium player. That's what I want to see. I love Braylon Allen. I love Isaiah Davis as in support. There should never be a time when they look like the bell cow back. Breece Hall is the bell cow. And
what pisses me off more than the carries is he ran this go route and it created this beautiful matchup. Everybody,
remember that?
Oh, you have to cover him with the linebacker, and there's not many linebackers in the league that can cover Breece Hall. And then I think we tried it one more time the rest of the season.
Think about that. And that was early.
What is going on? Like what? Like you have this problem for the defense that a linebackers are not going to be able to cover Breece Hall.
Yeah, and we just abandon it. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you try that more often? I just don't understand.
Because we suck. That's why. Red Bean says better trade Breece for a second. Yeah, well, that definitely better, but you're not getting it. Or my grape nut shirt for that White Castle one. Here you go. I'm sorry to cut you off. I should have just fucking read the damn comment. Grape nuts a good shirt. Grape nuts are lousy. Got to eat them fast so they become concrete. You know what the thing is with grape nuts, Red Bean? This is what I used to do. So what I would do is I would take some sugar. I would take my grape nuts. I'd put some sugar on it. I'd mix it in. Then I'd pour the milk in. I'd pat it all down and let them absorb the milk. So there was like no more milk in it. Then I would eat it like that. It was like still firm, but not because they were so crunchy. It was almost uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, these are just, all right, level, lay off the crunch a little bit, grape nuts. What are you fucking talking? What are we doing here? You know what I mean?
They had that old guy from that old famous actor, saying it's the right thing to do. He was.
I don't remember that.
He was the old guy. He was from that movie. What's Cocoon? He was the star. He was one.
That guy. Yeah, I know that guy.
He was like, he would do the Grape Nuts commercials. He'd be like, Grape Nuts, it's the right thing to do. Like that very kind of warm, cheesy, old man, wise voice.
Yeah, that's a good one, Red Bean. Thank you, buddy. Grape Nuts. Last comment, coaching matters, but we could potentially be incredibly bad. Teams will stack the box and reality will come. It could, unless they know how to take advantage of that. That's the thing. You have to be willing. You can't look, if you have a plan to do something and they're doing the thing that stops that, you had better have a counter. I'm going to throw my right hand at him. Oh my God, he's blocking. He hits me. It's like, well, where's the counter? Where's the chess? You can't go in with one move. I'm going to do this. It's going to be great. What if they know about that? What if they take that away? What do you do? So look, Justin Fields is an incredibly mobile quarterback. You know what I mean? Garrett Wilson is an incredible fucking wide receiver. You got to be able to do some things. Hopefully they give him some help. I don't know. Look, these guys they brought in, I don't know.
If they stack the box, that's when you have Justin Fields throw the ball, and trust him to throw the ball. And like you said, buy extra time in the pocket. One of the times where Justin Fields is the most dangerous is when he starts scrambling and looking downfield. So that's when he's at his most dangerous. And, he's going to have Garrett Wilson, and we'll see who else he has. Breeze, if you have BREECE Hall in there as the back running around, but we're going to draft guys and we're going to have guys, but that's how you play it. They start stacking the box. You have to punish them for it. You have to, you have to start. And we're going to need Justin Fields to do well. But you know what? It'll be easier for him because if you're stacking the box, the odds are you're not going to be able to double cover Garrett. And we have evidence that Justin Fields is capable of throwing the football to Garrett Wilson. There's lots of film on that.
Lots of film on Fields to Wilson.
So
all right. Well, listen, Jeremy, I'm grateful you came to hang out, man. This was nice. It was nice to see you. It's nice to spend some time. You got anything coming up?
Yeah, I missed it. Hey, we're just doing the Sunday thing. Everybody knows I started doing more videos more often, so look for that. I actually was going to come up and do a video tonight and have it set for the morning, but now that's probably
I ruined it.
That's okay. But Sunday nights, Dom C and I have been getting more into position. Each position we rattle off the top 8 to top 10 players in every position. I think we're doing safeties Sunday, so if you want to see Dom C's rankings of the safeties from like 1 to 8. And we do some honorable mentions. Tune in.
There you go, everybody. Well, listen, please do me a solid. Squeeze the milk thumb on your way out. If you'd be so kind to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, that is greatly appreciated. I thank all who have already. You guys are just the best, and you mean the world to me. I'm glad we're heading into the draft. I'm excited about the Talking Jets 3-day marathon. It's our 5th or 6th year. I think it's our 5th. Wait, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. This is our 6th draft. Incredible. We are live from an hour before the first pick all the way until the last pick. And a few minutes after that, we are live the whole time. I hope you'll hang out with us on the Talking Jets Network. I will see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. with Tigo on the Talking Jets Network. And then the Thursday thick of it right here on GreenBean's channel at 8 p.m. on Thursday. With that all said, that is a wrap. I thank Jeremy for hanging out with us. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you next time.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.